Heaven is high, hell is low. Welcome to Ray's Report. Esther, chapter 1, second passage. Vashti disobeys the king's command to appear before him. On the seventh day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mehuman, Betha, Harbona, Bigtha, and Abagada, Zadar, and Carcas, the 7 chamberlains that served in the presence of Ahasuerus the king, to bring Vashti the queen before the king with the royal crown, to show the people and the princes her beauty, for she was fair to look on. But the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment by his chamberlains. Therefore was the king very wroth, and his anger burned in him. Then the king said to the wise men, which knew the times, for so was the king's manner towards all that knew law and judgment. And the next unto him was Karshena, Sethar, Admatha, Tarshish, Meres, Marsena, and Memucan, the 7 princes of Persia and Media, which saw the king's face, and which sat the first in the kingdom. What shall we do unto the queen Vashti according to law, because she hath not performed the commandment of the king Ahasuerus by the chamberlains? And Memucan answered before the king and the princes, Vashti the queen hath not done wrong to the king only, but also to all the princes, and to all the people that are in all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus. For this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women, so that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes, when it shall be reported. The king Ahasuerus commanded Vashti the queen to be brought in before him, but she came not. Likewise shall the ladies of Persia and Media say this day unto all the king's princes, which have heard of the deed of the queen. Thus shall there arise too much contempt and wrath. If it please the king, let there go a royal commandment from him, and let it be written among the laws of the Persians and the Medes, that it be not altered, that Vashti come no more before King Ahasuerus, and let the king give her royal estate unto another that is better than she. And when the king's decree, which he shall make, shall be published throughout all his empire, for it is great, all the wives shall give to their husbands honor, both to great and small. And the saying pleased the king and the princes. And the king did according to the word of Memucan. For he sent letters into all the king's provinces, into every province according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language, that every man should bear rule in his own house, and that it should be published according to the language of every people. That's the end of that passage, and that ends chapter 1 of Esther. So you have to ask the question as you look at this passage, who are in this passage? Well, the Queen Vashti is here. The king Ahasuerus is here. And then his advisors, the wise men who know the law. He also has here his princes, his 7 princes of Persia. Now, why were they here? Well, they were here again to celebrate. They had a feast, and they were celebrating past victories, and they were preparing to motivate themselves and organize, because they were going to fight against Greece. The next big challenge for Persia was that Greece was getting powerful, and that Persia had to do something about it. And plus, it was also a little bit of vengeance for this king, as his father had already battled against Greece. His father Darius, and now him, who his name's also known as Xerxes, is now up for the challenge. So this took place where? At the Shushan, the palace in Persia. And they were together. And the king, what happened was he was intoxicated. And he wanted to show off. He had already showed off his beautiful palace and all his riches. But now he wanted to show off his wife. But not as his wife, as a trophy. And so he had ordered her by the chamberlain, who were also mentioned here. They're named, the 7 of them, and she refused to come. Now, to save face, he asked them, what can I do? What does the law allow? And they reminded him that if she's allowed to do this, disrespect the king, wives are going to do that to their husbands everywhere. Interestingly enough, when you hear the term, he's the master of his domain or the king of his castle, it may have come out of this very passage where they say, and I quote in verse 22, that every man should bear rule in his own house. So that was put out there as a rule and as a law. So why is this even being done? Why is this in the Bible? Well, this, as you notice now in this whole first chapter, Esther has not been mentioned. This opens the door for Esther to become queen. And that is Ray's report.